Now recognizes Mr. Gill from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Governor Pritzker, do you know how much illegal immigration costs your state each year?
No, sir, I do not.
Costs over $780 per family per year. That's a lot of money, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And may I ask, what do you mean by the cost?
That is a lot of money.
The cost of illegal immigration.
Let me ask you, do you know who Franklin Jose Pena Ramos is?
Are you talking about the federal government's cost to the state of Illinois as a result of the failed
Ramos is?
Immigration policy?
It's a yes or no question. I'll take that as a no. Do you know who Jose Martinez Rangel is?
No, sir, I do not.
You don't. You should. Those are two men who came into this country illegally, raped and murdered 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary in my home state of Texas. Do you think that elected officials should have welcomed them into our communities?
Sir, before they committed a crime, I'm not sure what you're asking.
Do you think that they should have been welcomed into our communities?
All right. Welcome back to America's Civic Lens. What you just watched was not a comfortable exchange, and it wasn't meant to be. This was Representative Brandon Gill doing what Congress is supposed to do but too often avoids, asking direct questions, naming hard truths, and refusing to let evasive answers slide. This wasn't about theatrics. This wasn't about gotcha politics. This was about accountability for policy decisions that have real costs, real victims, and real consequences for American families. And whether you agree with Representative Gill on every issue or not, one thing is undeniable after watching this hearing. He came prepared, he stayed focused, and he spoke for people who feel ignored by political elites. If you care about border security, public safety, fiscal responsibility, and honest governance, you're going to want to watch this all the way through. So before we break it all down, don't just skip through the reaction. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who still believes Congress should ask tough questions instead of offering soft excuses. Help grow the channel so we can give you more honest reactions daily.
Now recognizes Mr. Gill from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Governor Pritzker, do you know how much illegal immigration costs your state each year?
No, sir, I do not.
Costs over $780 per family per year. That's a lot of money, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And may I ask, what do you mean by the cost?
That is a lot of money.
The cost of illegal immigration.
Let me ask you, do you know who Franklin Jose Pena Ramos is?
Are you talking about the federal government's cost to the state of Illinois as a result of the failed
Ramos is?
Immigration policy?
It's a yes or no question. I'll take that as a no. Do you know who Jose Martinez Rangel is?
No, sir, I do not.
You don't. You should. Those are two men who came into this country illegally, raped and murdered 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary in my home state of Texas. Do you think that elected officials should have welcomed them into our communities?
Sir, before they committed a crime, I'm not sure what you're asking.
Do you think that they should have been welcomed into our communities? That's a very straightforward question.
Someone who commits murder, no. Someone who commits murder should be apprehended.
Why did you state during Biden's border crisis that illegal aliens, quote, should have been welcomed and helped by elected officials?
When you say illegal aliens, these are people who are given asylum.
And helped into our communities.
People who are
That's
asylum
easy
seekers.
Yes or no question.
Well, you're mischaracterizing them.
It is your position that they should have been welcomed into our communities. Is that correct?
There were asylum
That's from
seekers
your
who were
own
here
statement.
legally.
And then they went on and murdered and raped 12-year-old Jocelyn.
Someone who commits murder should be held accountable. We do that in the state.
And you think they should have been welcomed into our communities before they did?
I don't know how you can tell before somebody commits a crime that they are going to commit the
secure the border and not let illegal aliens come into our communities. Do you support abolishing ICE?
Asylum seekers.
Do you support abolishing ICE?
No, I believe we need an immigration force in the United States.
You don't.
In fact,
you believe a budget is a moral document. Is that correct?
I do.
You do. You tweeted that. Your administration gave $12,000 to the Organized Communities Against Deportations, which just this past month was marching in the streets of Chicago with signs saying abolish ICE. Do you support this?
I do not.
Is this a reflection of your moral values?
Force.
Is this a reflection of your moral values?
I do not support abolishing an immigration force.
That's good to hear. Mr. Governor, Do you think that biological men should be able to use women's restrooms?
I'm not sure how this has to do with immigration.
It's just a yes or no question.
Why are you
It's very easy to answer.
this?
Do you
I
think
thought
that
we were
men should be using
doing
women's
fact
restrooms?
finding. I'm sorry?
Do you think men should be allowed in women's restrooms?
I'm not sure why this has come to this issue.
You
It has
tweeted
nothing
that
to do
as
with
a
immigration.
protest against President Trump, everyone should use the other gender's bathroom today. Have you ever used the women's restroom?
Not that I can recall ever, sir. No.
You wanted everybody else to do it, but you didn't?
Sir, I'm not sure why we're on a topic that has
I'm
nothing to
asking
do
you,
with
you're
today's hearing.
advocating for men to use women's restrooms, but you didn't do it?
I do not advocate that, no.
Well, actually, you did. You said everyone should use the other gender's bathroom today.
I can tell you that you are
regret
politicizing
saying
this in a way that what we ought to be focusing on is
Do you
the
regret
failure of the federal
encouraging men to
government
use women's restrooms?
and the Congress to deal with immigration reform.
Do you regret encouraging men to use women's restrooms?
Again, you're taking us on topics that have
Did you ever
nothing to
consider
do
that
with
women don't
the
want you in
subject
their-
that you
in their
invited us here
bathrooms?
for? So you're admitting that this is just a political circus.
No,
Is
I'm
that what you're doing?
asking you
This
because
is
you put
nothing
this
to do
on
with
the
immigration
internet for everybody
and
to
really
see.
about you grandstanding.
I'm asking you, have you ever considered that women don't want you in their bathrooms? That's a private space that they don't want you or any other man in.
Congressman, let's talk about
You
your
can't say that
failure to
normal
vote
people can
for
say that
Medicaid.
they
In
don't,
fact, you want to
that
take
they don't
Medicaid
think
away.
men should be in
and
women's
SNAP
restrooms.
And
That's a
veteran
very
services.
straightforward question.
You apparently want people
And you're
to
encouraging
die
men to
in the
use
United
women's
States
restrooms
because you
where there
want to
could be
take healthcare
underage
away.
girls. Do you think that's appropriate?
Sir, if we're going to
Do you think that's
politicize
normal?
this, let's talk about what you're doing to people in
you
this
think that
country
that's normal?
by virtue of your votes.
All right, let's move on.
with
Let's
President
ask,
Trump.
do you support Hamas's agenda?
Sir, I do not. They are a terrorist organization.
Your administration gave a grant to the Muslim Civic Coalition, which just 2 weeks after October 7th was marching in the streets of Chicago to, quote, stop the U.S.-backed genocide against Gaza. Is that a reflection of your values?
I have spent my life fighting anti-Semitism.
No, I'm asking, is this a reflection of your values?
I'm not sure why you're attacking
Because
me
your
about something in an
administration
organization.
gave money to this organization.
I'm explaining to you that what we do in the state of Illinois is stand up for what we believe are
You didn't
our
have to
rights
give
and
money
freedoms.
to the Muslim Civic Coalition
People
to
have
march
the
and
right to
call,
express themselves.
to stop the
We don't-
U.S.-backed genocide against Gaza. That was your choice.
I know
that was your
Republicans want to
administration.
take away people's right to free speech. We don't in the state of Illinois, and
They've got the right to
that
free
is
speech.
proper.
They don't have the right to tax dollars, and you gave them to them.
You want to take those rights away from people. I understand.
Gentlemen, time's expired. Chair recognizes Ms. Brown from Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Trump administration isn't serious about public safety.
Now let's get into it. What stood out immediately in this exchange is how Representative Brandon Gill controlled the frame from start to finish. He didn't allow the conversation to drift into abstractions or bureaucratic language. He grounded everything in facts, costs, and consequences. He started with something refreshingly simple. How much does illegal immigration cost your state? And Governor Pritzker couldn't answer. That moment matters. Because when leaders champion policies, they should know the price tag, especially when that price is being paid by working families. Gill, citing a figure of over $780 per family per year, instantly reframed the debate. This wasn't ideology anymore. This was math. Then Gill did something many politicians avoid. He personalized the issue without sensationalizing it. By naming victims, a 12-year-old girl brutally raped and murdered, he forced the conversation out of policy theory and into human reality. And notice what Gill wasn't doing. He wasn't claiming every immigrant is a criminal. He wasn't smearing entire communities. He was making a very narrow, very serious point. Government has a moral obligation to prevent known illegal entry because failure has consequences that cannot be undone. Governor Pritzker's repeated inability, or unwillingness, to answer yes or no questions only reinforced Gill's argument. When asked whether illegal immigrants should have been welcomed into communities, Pritzker tried to blur timelines, redefine terms, and retreat into hypotheticals. Gill didn't let him. That persistence wasn't rudeness. It was oversight. Then came the ICE question, and this is where Gill really exposed a contradiction. Pritzker says he doesn't support abolishing ICE, yet his administration funded groups actively marching under banners calling for exactly that. Gill didn't accuse. He quoted receipts. That's not a smear. That's accountability. And when Gill tied it back to Pritzker's own statement that a budget is a moral document, it was a devastatingly effective move. Because if spending reflects values, then funding groups that undermine immigration enforcement says something, whether the governor likes it or not. The restroom exchange, controversial as it was, served a larger purpose. Gill wasn't randomly changing topics. He was drawing a through line about elite policies imposed without regard for ordinary people's comfort, safety, or consent. His question wasn't abstract. It was grounded in how policies play out in real life, especially for women and children. Pritzker's frustration here was telling. Instead of clearly disavowing the statement, he deflected and accused Gill of politicization. But Gill's point landed. Leaders who advocate symbolic gestures should be willing to live by them themselves. Finally, when the conversation turned to state funding and protest following October 7th, Gill again stayed disciplined. He didn't attack free speech. He explicitly defended it, while drawing a clear line between speech and taxpayer funding. That distinction matters. Supporting free expression does not require forcing taxpayers to subsidize organizations whose messaging they strongly oppose. Gill articulated that line clearly, calmly, and unapologetically. What this hearing showed is why Representative Brandon Gill resonates with so many voters. He speaks plainly. He doesn't hide behind jargon. And he refuses to let power escape scrutiny just because the questions are uncomfortable. This wasn't cruelty. This wasn't chaos. This was representation. And whether the media likes his style or not, millions of Americans saw in this exchange what they've been waiting for. Someone in Washington willing to say what they're thinking and ask what they're asking without backing down. That's why moments like this matter. And that's why we cover them here. This is America's Civic Lens, where power gets questioned, not protected.